Welcome back to the channel. I've spent my entire week with this 2025 Ford Explorer ST. Now this will be my second time with the Ford Explorer platform here in 2025. Ford was nice enough to invite me out in October to check it out as it was launching here in Quebec. But I didn't have enough time to actually get a real opinion. I only got to drive the car for about 2 hours. So I waited till I had it for an entire week, an opportunity like this, to drive it in some winter as well to actually make the full review. So here we go. I think that the Ford Explorer platform is a really important platform for Ford in general, just because it's really nice with the consumers. I think I see a lot of the older generation ones on the road here still today. And also it's very heavily used as police cars, especially here in Canada and here in Quebec. I see them everywhere. Maybe not in this red color, but they're absolutely everywhere these Explorers are. So last year and the years before, I don't know if Ford really got the interior right. I don't know if they had it the way that they needed it to be. And they made big improvements on the interior and a little bit of improvements, a little bit of tweaks on the exterior. And I think this time around in 2025, this is the best the Ford Explorer has ever been. So I'm gonna take you through the exterior, I'm gonna show you the interior, and then of course, we're gonna take it on a POV drive. Let's get right into it. So first up, as usual, we have the front end for our Ford Explorer ST. It looks really, really good with the daytime running LEDs right here. This whole front end, look, if you see this thing at night and it's behind you, you immediately think cop, or at least I do, and I think other people as well, because I've had a couple people check or do full stops in front of me, you know, that stuff. So it's been very interesting to witness, and I like that a lot. But you can see this front grille got a little bit of a change for this year. This year now it's a little bit bigger in my opinion, and also it's blacked out for the ST version. If you get the platinum version, you'll get like a chrome. It still looks really good. We've got the nice ST badge right over there, and we've got fog lights, parking sensors, and a front-facing camera. And so this thing is as well equipped as it comes, and I like the blacked out kind of Explorer logo right there. This thing looks really, really good in the red, but if you really wanted your personal vehicle to look like a police vehicle, I would get it in black or white, and you'd probably fool quite a few people on the road. It's pretty interesting. So next up is under the hood for the Ford Explorer ST. We get the twin-turbo V6 engine giving us 400 horsepower, 415 pound-feet of torque with a 10-speed automatic transmission. And of course, we have all-wheel drive. I've tested this thing in the winter in some pretty icy conditions this week, and it's handled it really, really well. Now, you don't have to go with the twin-turbo V6. If you want to save a little bit of money, you can actually option the Platinum and the ST lines with the 2.3-liter turbo 4-cylinder engine that's going to output 300 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. But I think the way that this V6 twin turbo moves, if you ever test drive it, you're going to be hooked on the V6, trust me. All right, so next we'll move on to the side profile for the Ford Explorer. You can see how much of a big presence that it has on the road. I like the big blacked out rims. I like the red brakes. It looks very nice, looks very sporty for an SUV. And let me tell you, this thing is really big, but I'm telling you, when I take you on the POV drive, you're going to see what I'm talking about. This thing can move for its size, and it's very impressive, very comfortable. There's a nice tint in the back. Let's actually get a little bit closer here. You can see these nice rims. I really like them. I am on winter tires. I've got the Ice Contact X trim, I think that's what it's called, and I believe that is Continentals. So that is pretty good for the winter, no complaints. I like the turn signal LEDs. We've got a camera underneath. We have got smart door handles, whereas if I put my hand like this, it's going to unlock. And then we have the tiniest lock button sensor. Let's see if the phone can even pick it up. There it is. My pair of glasses need a pair of glasses to see this thing. So it's extremely small, but it is there, and it's on all 4 doors, so that's very nice. As I said, I really like the tint back here. Very nice in the 3rd row. We'll show you all that once we actually hop into the interior, but let's continue on to the back, where the taillights are a little different from the previous generations, but still nice. We've got the quad exhaust that look really good. You can see it's blowing a bunch of smoke here in the winter. Looks really nice. Again, in this red color, phenomenal. I do like the taillight design. It's not a bar, but it can kind of connect. If Ford want to ever go and connect a light bar, they could. You can see if I drop down here, we've got some nice ground clearance as well. Really decent stuff going on here. Got the backup camera. I wish this wiper was tucked up underneath this so it doesn't get bogged down by snow. So far, I haven't had that much of a heavy snowfall to really test that, so I think it's okay. But last but not least, let's check out the trunk space. Press the button there on the side. It's a little hidden. It's over on the right. It's weird. But it's an automatic tailgate, which is good for the price point, so we like that. You can see I got my 3rd row folded up here. A little bit of storage here underneath the floor. And then we have these 2 chairs here that can go down. It's automatic, folding up and down, 3rd row, so that's very nice. And look at this. When I fold these 3rd row down, look how much room and cargo space I've got when I do that. It is phenomenal. I really like it. yeah, you got a ton of space in here, a ton of space in here. Maybe not so much room in the third row, which we'll check out once we actually hop in the vehicle, but a ton of room, and that's really good. So it's really cold out, so let's actually check out the interior. Okay, first up as usual is the rear seat for the Ford Explorer ST. Nice and big door, really easy to get in. As you can see, I've got my wiper back here, but still a ton of room for all of this stuff. I like the simpleness of just the black with the red stitching going through. Also, you got kind of a little bit of a metal feel here. We do have some sun blockers right there built into the door, so we do like that. The seats are not powered, which honestly at this price point, I would have liked to see powered rear seats. Would have been something nice to have, but we don't, so we move on. And we have this really nice material for the seats, though. Again, black and red stitching with that ST logo right there etched into the seats. We also have the third row, which I'll just show you. This kind of seat moves out of the way really easily, and then you can access your third row. Now, it's going to be tight. You're not going to fit fully grown adults there comfortably. Obviously, these seats move up, so you can give them a little bit more room. But I don't fit back there too well. But you do have some USB, you do have some cup holders back there, and you got the seat belts, and it looks like a pretty good place to sit regardless of, the fact you also don't have to get the ST in the full kind of captain's chairs configuration. That is the configuration that I would go with, but you could easily get the one that has, just the single bench with the third row as well. So you can kind of configure that a little differently should you want to. So let's go ahead and hop in here. So once we're on the inside here, you can see really nice for my knees here. Got a ton of room in the seat too. Really nice place to sit. We've got HVAC controls back here. It's not like a dual zone or a tri-zone or anything like that. It's just kind of one of these simple ones, but very easy to understand and use. We've also got 2 levels of heated steering, a little cup holder guy that's going to fold out right there, as well as 2 USB-C ports. So that's really nice. Got a nice view of the sunroof. We got our own vents back here. So it's all very nicely laid out. We've also got some armrests as well, which again, with that black and red stitching, we like it a lot. So really roomy. Got a ton of space in the middle here should you have to put something here. While you have people in the back as well, you could do that. You'd also just fold the third row down if you just need these 2 captain's chairs. You fold that third row down, you have a ton of room in the trunk. You'll gain a ton of trunk space by doing that. So overall, for the back seat of the Ford Explorer ST, I could do a road trip in here, no problem. I'm absolutely comfortable. I have a ton of room, and it is a really comfortable vehicle and place to be in the back. But let's check out the front. All right, front seat, business end for the Ford Explorer ST. You can see it's going to chime at me, but we got a B&O audio system and 3 levels of memory seat settings. Also, if you look down here, we have the Ford Performance logo, really nice. The seats for the passenger and the driver are going to be powered. And again, you still have the nice ST kind of logo etched into the seat there. And we have the black and red stitching that kind of continues throughout the entire interior. But I like this other kind of material that we have for the B&O audio system. Very nice little touch, and we have our lighting controls right there. So hopped on the inside now. We're greeted by the steering wheel. Really nice. It's a little on the smaller side, I would say. I feel like I've driven bigger SUVs with bigger steering wheels, but it is nice and beefy. It's got a nice and beefy look to it. We've also got the ST logo, very nice. And we've also got a ton of physical buttons, so I can control my media and different stuff like that. And then I have all of my Blue Cruise and cruise control buttons over here, as well as a volume control. That's the only thing I have to complain about the steering wheel. I wish the volume and media controls were on one side and everything was good. We've also got paddle shifters. They are plastic, but they are still there, so hard to complain about that. Then we look at our digital infotainment display. It's got some basic stuff that you can kind of roll through here. You can have tire pressure. You can configure my view, calm view, map view. You can have a bunch of different stuff. It's kind of got the Google. This has got Android Automotive built in, so you can have a couple of different stuff. We've also got some drive modes as well. We'll go through them here. I have the normal. I have the eco. We've got a sport mode, of course. We've got towing. Then on the other side, we have slippery, and we have trail. Slippery I have had to use this week, and it's come in handy. This little guy right here is actually an eye sensor, so that way, well, the sun's really starting to come out. So that way, when I am driving, when I'm using the Blue Cruise, the car can tell if I'm paying attention to the road or not. And if I don't, it'll start to yell at me. Last but not least, we got the classic Ford logo. I like it. Nothing crazy. You don't need a crazy logo for it. It's nice. Sometimes they're like, chromed out or whatever. This is just classic. I like it. Next, we take a look at our massive infotainment display. They went away with the iPad design that I don't think anybody liked. Personally, I didn't mind it that much. I used it on the F-150 Lightning for the first time. I really didn't hate it. I used it on the Mach-E as well. I didn't hate it there either, but I also I'll have to say I didn't love it as well. This one's very good. It's also ran by Android Automotive. You know, Ford has just kind of put their skin on it, if you will. Like, they've kind of given it like a little Ford spin, but it's very much an Android Automotive vehicle. You've got YouTube, you've got a games app, you've got Amazon Alexa built in, wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, so all that stuff is going to be there, but it uses Google Maps built in. So that's really good if you're a Google Maps user. And click the vehicle settings here. It kind of gives you some quick stuff, and then it will load the version of the vehicle that I have. It's nice and red, flips really around. You can see it's really high quality. I've got 360-degree camera systems. It is dirty right now because it is absolutely disgusting outside, but still a really nice and big thing. But if you like physical buttons, once again, in 2025 is not going to be a thing, because I've got to kind of click when I want to adjust the temperature. I've got to kind of like slide that up if I want to like finger adjust it, or you can quick adjust it like this. And then you have your heated stuff here, heated steering, you can put it on auto. But we do have heated and ventilated seats for both the driver and the passenger, as well as massaging seats for the driver and the passenger. So it's very nice. Hard to complain about that, but yeah, not much physical buttons. You have these guys down here that it's like, you can kind of see when I click it, it's like one button, but it does different things. Like, it's all, when I push it, like the entire thing moves. But you know what? I don't hate it. I think it's okay for what it is. As long as this part works and doesn't fail, which so far it hasn't. I'll let you know later on when I take it for a drive if it has, because that'll be later on during the week. But so far, so good. It has not failed, so I do like this infotainment display better than the iPad. Then we have like this shelf right here where I've got a wireless charger, and then you can have another phone stored right here. But this is a really good idea for like phone storage. I like it. We have a little bit of storage down here with our USB-C right there. Next is our gear selector right here. Very easy to understand and use. Our drive mode selector, electronic parking brake, 2 cup holders, very standard. A little bit of storage in there, as well as a USB charger. We have Explorer that's written on the dash. It looks really high quality. It actually looks pretty premium in here for the ST. It's my favorite model of the Explorer, so I'm glad I get to spend some time with it. But yeah, overall the interior is very nice. A big improvement from 2025, I think a lot of people will find, especially if you did not like that iPad. But if you still want physical buttons, you're not getting it in 2025, unfortunately. You're still going to have to use the infotainment display for quite a few things for 2025, but they've made improvements to make that as easy as possible, so I don't hate it. So that's going to do it for the interior tour. Let me strap that GoPro to my forehead, and let's take this twin-turbo V6 Ford Explorer ST out on the road. All right, so let's get out of this here parking lot that we were just in for filming the intro, actually. And let's get on the road. You can see there's like ice here, but I mean, I'm in comfort mode, or just normal mode, I guess. And yeah, nothing is stopping these wheels from turning. I've been in worse, like this kind of ice at some points during the week was actually out on the road. So I would turn, you know, I turn the drive mode to a slippery mode, and I could really feel all the wheels kind of working and thinking out, okay, what needs more traction, what needs less traction. Like, you can really feel the car learning and just, you know, adjusting itself based on the traction needs, which is really cool. So in the Ford Explorer, when it came to like winter driving, I always felt really safe. I really felt like, you know, I could predict what the car was going to do. And I knew that, you know, if I ran into trouble, it was going to figure the traction out and it wasn't going to be a bad thing. And also, I would have to be extremely dumb to get myself stuck in it. Like, I could probably drive through a pretty good snowstorm to even start to get stuck, or you know, I'd have to make a series of extremely unfortunate and terrible decisions to get stuck in this thing in the winter, especially if you pair it with some nice and good winter tires, which of course I've got on here. They're brand new pretty much, because you know, the press vehicles always come with pretty much brand new winter tires here in Quebec. They are mandatory, so yeah, you're gonna be good if you have this kind of setup in the winter. It's gonna be nice and fine. You've got your heated seat, heated steering, all the stuff that's making me nice and comfortable, as it is -4 outside right now. But visibility in the Ford Explorer is really good. I feel like I've got a big windscreen. I feel like, despite having a very big vehicle, it's easy to maneuver. It's easy to kind of look around. I did, however, I do find that the steering is stiff in no matter what mode I tend to be in. The steering is like kind of stiff. It gets even stiffer in sport mode, obviously, but I feel like it's just super, like at times it's like really rigid, but I don't mind that. Personally, I like a stiff steering wheel. Usually that's what I'll configure to. Like if I have a custom sport mode, usually I'll put the steering in sport so it's a little stiffer. I just find you get more feedback from it. I mean, this Explorer doesn't really talk to you through the steering wheel all that much. I mean, the steering is very good, don't get me wrong. It's easy to maneuver and stuff, but in terms of like the sportiness of it, you're not really getting that much feedback. But I will tell you that this thing can move. Let me show you what I mean. Let's throw her into sport mode here. Let's get around the bend. All right, and let's give it some gas. Oh my God, why is that like, okay, I know it's a twin turbo V6 with 400 horsepower, but why does it feel like more? Why does it feel like Ford wasn't being honest? Why does it feel so much more power than just 400? I'm telling you, if you drive one of these things and you floor it in sport mode, you will understand what I'm talking about. Like the first time I did it, off camera, obviously, just to kind of test it, I was like frowning because I'm like, it doesn't look like it should be this fast. And I've had other 3-rows with some nice horsepower numbers that don't feel this fast. This thing feels fast. And the only way that a 3-row, a heavy big boy vehicle like this can feel fast is if it actually is fast. And the noises that I'm getting, I don't feel like it's pumped in audio. I feel like that's straight up the twin turbo V6. Ford has allowed us to hear it. On the door sill, like I showed you before, we have a Ford Performance badge. Now, you know, when I sat in here, I was like, okay, we'll see how much Ford Performance is in here. Quite a bit, enough actually. It's nothing like, it's not the Mustang engine. It's not like super obnoxiously loud or anything, but it's enough to put a smile on your face, even when you're driving your kids to school. I think that's where like the Ford Explorer really, really shines. It's like, it's got dad speed, God speed, there's dad speed as well, right? And it's just something that's usable, daily driver, very easy to understand and use and get in and just be good in any weather, but also really fun. What a good idea. What a good idea to put a V6 twin turbo in the Ford Explorer. I would recommend this engine, even if you just get like the platinum version. I just option this engine. Spec it around so that you can get the twin turbo V6, because if you do that, any trim, or at least what I think, any trim of the Ford Explorer will move if you've got the twin turbo V6. It's just crazy how it distributes its weight so well when it's taking off, or like when you really give it some beams. It just does really good at just flying around. Like, I don't know, it's so awkward because it just shouldn't be this fast. Like it should not be this fast, and it should not feel as fast as it is, but it does, and it's so cool. And I'm so glad that we have this on the market. And also, you can tell why the emergency service, the vehicles, the cops, you can tell why they want this as their vehicles. They can tell why they want this on their fleets. Because it's really, just in the stock. I don't know if the cops here in Quebec actually mod the vehicles to be faster, but just with the twin turbo V6, man, the cop car is fast. Like, you can catch up to pretty much all of the general traffic here in this third row. I mean, obviously, if you get into the performance cars, this thing's going to take its time to get up to you, but I mean, it moves. It's just, okay, I'm a fan. I like it. Wasn't expecting it. And you're really not when you look at it. You think it looks fast, kind of. It's a 30 row, so you're like, how fast could it really be? No. Take my word for it. It's quick. I'm a dad. It's dad quick. Dad speed. Dad speed, 100% confirmed. Wow, that's nice. The handling is actually way better in sport mode than any other mode. It's actually quite stiff, but I feel like, the responsiveness is there. Obviously on a track, I don't know how much you're going to get, but I mean, you getting chased down by one of these, they're going to catch up, especially if you're not in like a high performance vehicle. The cops are going to get you, especially if they mod it. Oh man, if you modded this thing, oh, that's fast. Already at the stock is very nice. So I really think that Ford, kind of improved everything. I mean, they didn't change a lot with the exterior, and I don't think that was the goal. I think with the interior, they really needed to refine stuff. They really needed to kind of adjust the formula, and they've done a really good job. They've got a lot of like soft touch material, not too many hard plastics anymore. They've done away with kind of iPad design that I don't think anybody really enjoyed. And now we've kind of got Android Automotive with the Ford skin over it. It just looks really well, really clean, easy to understand and use. We've got Blue Cruise now on board, so that's really nice. You know, if you're on the highway, it'll kind of tell you that, hey, Blue Cruise is available. You can see I've got a sensor right here. It's very nice. I have used it. It can change lanes. It's got the upgraded software for Blue Cruise as well. So if it notices like a semi coming up next to you and passing you, it will kind of move you over to the right or left side of the lane so that the semi truck has enough room to get by and that you're nice and safe and stuff like that. So it can pick up on little details like that. And you know, during my test in October, I actually got to see that a little bit better, and it actually does kind of move the car just off the center of the lane as a semi truck is passing and then just drifts back. Really, really well done. It can also change lanes as well. You know, it kind of, once it's safe to do so, it just does it. So this thing is going to be really, really easy and nice to use on your long road trips, on your long haul commutes. If you have a lot of highway on your way to work and stuff like that, and you just want to pop on Blue Cruise, as long as you're watching the road, the car can pretty much do it all. That's going to do it for my overall thoughts on the Ford Explorer ST for the second time this year. But like I said, I couldn't get a video out the first time because those press events, it's just hard to really get a bunch of thoughts out because you're also talking to somebody. You also have somebody in the passenger seat with you. You rarely ever get, or at least in my experience so far, I rarely ever get the car to myself where I can stop and do what I need to do and focus on my own thing. You kind of have to accommodate the other person. So you really get about an hour, maybe an hour and a half actually behind the wheel. So it's hard to formulate like a proper full opinion for an actual review. So I held it this time. I didn't make a first impression video or anything like that. I just did this full review. And if you want to know what it's like to live with, then that video is going to be out shortly after this one. So you can kind of go through a week with me in the life of living with the Ford Explorer ST. I believe I filmed some stuff when it was in the ice and snow and stuff like that. So you're going to want to check that out as well. So let me know what you think of the Ford Explorer ST. Do you own a previous generation? Are you looking at the new generations? What do you think about it? I really want to know all of your thoughts. Do not be shy. Sound off in the comments. Let me know you're here. With that being said, I will see you in the next week. See you in the next car. Take care.